Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's the last leg of this long road trip. The Royals are in Detroit for a 3-game series with the Tigers. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rick Sudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery are coming up. It's a very eerie feeling here. The Tigers fired their CEO, President, and General Manager Dave Dombrowski, and it's odd these two teams getting together this late, separated by 11.5 games.
Yes, and fortunately for the Royals, there's a change of the guard. You never want to see guys lose their jobs, but you know, Detroit here, they've had their issues, but there hasn't been any of those type of issues around the Royals camp. That's all that matters.
Last time the Royals were here in May, they took 2 out of 3, and the Royals had a game-and-a-half lead over the Tigers at that point. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard, from that point on, the two teams went in completely different directions.
They sure did. The Royals are on a mission, and they know exactly what they got to do. And to start the season, it was to come through Motown. So far, they haven't exactly had to go through Motown, but they're looking to win their second straight series since 2003 here. That would be pretty special.
This is a different Tigers team. No Miguel Cabrera, no David Price, no Yoenis Cespedes, no Joaquin Soria.
Yeah, hey, look, they'll take all of that, but still, it's a big league team, and there's some really hot hitters right now for the Tigers. So I'm sure that these Royals are not going to take the Tigers lightly at all. They've got one game philosophy, and that's for Duffy to stay down in that zone and beat these Tigers. They don't care.
Trying to bounce back after giving up 3 home runs in Toronto, and Joel and Monty will talk more about Danny right after this.
The Royals trailed the Tigers by 5. Now they're up on them by 11.5. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, and Danny Duffy takes the hill for the Royals. And he's coming off a bit of a rough start, career-high 3 home runs, but very good the last 7. What did he do those 7? What maybe changed last time?
Well, his last 7, he's pitched a contact very nice. He has not gone for the strikeouts, but unfortunately, he ran into a very hot-hitting Blue Jays lineup. He pitched a contact. Unfortunately, 3 home runs did a lot of damage against him.
He has pitched well here at Comerica Park in his career, including a great duel with Justin Verlander back in 2013. He'll look to do the same again here tonight. First pitch from Detroit coming up next.
Ticket you play. Get back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers, drop by for great deals on all the new 2015 vehicles today. This great mild weather continues to follow us, beginning in Cleveland, 4 in Detroit, and now 3 games, or 4 in Toronto, now 3 games here in Detroit. Well, Mike Moustakas is back in the starting lineup tonight, and yet with Ben Zobrist swinging the bat the way he is, and he is more of a typical number 2 type of hitter, so Mike Moustakas slides down to the number 6 spot where he might have the opportunity to drive in more runs. We'll see how that plays out as the Royals get ready for Justin Verlander, who over the course of this season has been a big disappointment. He is 1-3 in 8 starts. The Tigers are 1-7 in his starts, but over his last 2, he's starting to look a little more like Justin Verlander.
That's right. And, you know, is this going to take him some time to get his rhythm and to actually figure out how to become a pitcher with the blessed ability that he's had over his young career, throwing 98 to 100, you know, with that kind of stuff. Heck, you can just go out there and perform. But now he's learning how to pitch at 90 to 95, which is still special. His average on his fastball is 92, but he's got really good secondary pitches, a nice overhand curve, slider, and a changeup. But he's going to try to do the same thing that he does with every opponent. Get him with the fastball early and ahead of him, and then work in some secondary. And for the offense, they're not going to do anything different than they would do with any other pitcher. They're going to be swinging early in the count. I can guarantee it.
And that begins with Alcides Escobar. Both of his home runs this year have been on the first pitch of a game, including one here in Detroit, the other at Wrigley Field. Escobar looking to get going here in Detroit. He is just 167 on this trip. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yep, so Verlander, he's learning how to pitch. He's starting to feel comfortable, and he's been commanding that fastball. That's the whole key. First 2 pitches right on the corner to Escobar. He knows the aggressive style of the Royals.
Flicks it out to right field. J.D. Martinez is there, 1 down. Well, it's been a disappointing season overall for the Tigers. They have improved somewhat defensively, and they've got a good throwing catcher behind the plate in James McCann to try and slow down the Royals' running game.
It's like they might have found their catcher for their future, as Alex Avila, he's a free agent at the end of the season and hasn't been getting a lot of reps, been playing some first base. But McCann is a strong kid. throws extremely well, like you said.
Outside to Ben Zobrist.
You know, this move makes a lot of sense, at least for this game. And I don't know how long Ned's going to keep Zobrist in the number 2 hole, but his on base percentage is good. Good situational hitter. You know, Moustakas has been struggling a little bit at the plate. So why not bump him down to the 6th spot and let Zobrist continue his hot hand in that 2nd spot? I think it's a good team move. For now, anyway, we'll see.
Ben Zobrist had 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the Toronto series. Two and 1. Fastball coming in at 91 miles an hour from Verlander. You know, just 4 years ago, his average fastball was 95. That one at 92, and that's about his average now. Every now and then he'll crank it up some, but on average about 92 miles an hour.
He still can be a dominant pitcher, learning how to use his stuff. We see pitchers all the time that have learned later in their careers how to control their fastballs, command them. It's all about location, really, and change of speeds.
Castellanos in foul ground and makes the play on Zobrist. And now Lorenzo Cain with 2 down, nobody on. It's an accomplishment to keep the Royals scoreless in the 1st inning. Our Toyota League leaders for tonight. The Royals have the highest run differential in the major leagues when it comes to the 1st inning. And in the Toronto series, they scored in the 1st inning in 1 game after 2 outs and nobody on. Lorenzo Cain's had a very good road trip through Cleveland and Toronto. Mostly by getting on base and scoring runs. He has scored 9 runs on this trip. That's backing out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Lorenzo is 7 for 20 in his career off Verlander with a homer. A lot of Royals with plenty at bats in their careers against Verlander. But you know, they didn't mind Verlander when he was averaging 95.
One ball, 2 strikes. It looked like a slider at 86 miles an hour.
Yep, and that's been a really good pitch for him, especially in his last 2 outings. He's gone 8 innings in both of his previous 2 outings. And he's bringing in those secondary pitches, and he commands them. He's able to throw them for strikes.
Left that pitch out over the plate. J.D. Martinez again in right field. Verlander gets the Royals 1-2-3. Andy Duffy to the mound to make his 16th start when we come back. Tigers have had a tough year, but still dangerous on offense. They have the league's highest batting average. They have scored the 4th most runs. They have the 2nd highest on base percentage. Rajai Davis will lead off. Anthony Gose, who's had a good year against the Royals this year, has been struggling lately and has been leading off. He bats 9th. All to face Danny Duffy, trying to get back to 500 with his 5th win tonight. Had a tough time, but who wouldn't with the way the Blue Jays are swinging the bats right now in his last start on Thursday.
They were some kind of hot and feeding off of that energy with their new acquisitions and their new found life that they have in Toronto. But Duffy, he allowed a 1st inning run for the first time since May 6th. Normally he's been really good in those first innings. He's held the opposition to just 204 batting average first time through here, but at least in the first. Fastball, slurvy curve, breaking ball, combination slider curve, changeup. And sometimes when you see Duffy's breaking ball, it has a short break to it. Other times it has a big break. So in the business, they call that a slurve, combination slider curve. You can call it what you want, and it's effective. It's really good against righties and lefties.
Really tied up Davis, and Mike Moustakas will throw him out. 1 down. The Royals defensively, presented by Ford. They return to Detroit for Omar Infante. He had a huge year last year against the Tigers in his first year with the Royals.
Yep, he had a little something to prove to his teammates, his former teammates anyway. But look, you ask all these Royals players, they're out there to prove themselves every single night. There are no such thing as meaningless games to this team. They still have the same fangs out as they had early in the season.
Iglesias out to Cain in center field, 2 down. And I still think, because the question has come up, well, how do the Royals feel about this series? I mean, last couple of years, these have been some battles for first place in the Central. Now the Tigers are below 500. They're 11.5 games back. I still think the history is too recent, that when they show up and they see that old English D, they're still thinking like, man, we got to battle these guys.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's changed at all. They all know, everybody in the world knows that they're not as strong as they were, missing a few of those key players. But still, this is a formidable team. You got Victor Martinez in there. JD Martinez has been carrying the load, and this guy here, Ian Kinsler, he's been swinging a hot bat.
He is 12 for his last 17, Ian Kinsler. Otherwise, a down year, especially in the category of home runs, with just 5, batting under 300. But with Cabrera gone, he is hitting in the middle of the order instead of the top of the order. And he breaks his bat in half, and Danny Duffy matches Justin Verlander. He gets the Tigers, which is 8 pitches. We hope you'll mark your calendars for the 5th T-shirt Tuesday coming up on August 11th. That's the Royals and these Tigers. The first 10,000 fans receive a blue 7th inning stretch T-shirt courtesy of Sprint. And for tickets, go to Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Eric Hosmer, Kendrys Morales, and Mike Moustakas, who is batting 6th. Hosmer, 5 hits, 4 runs scored, 3 RBIs in Toronto, 9 RBIs on this road trip.
Hosmer doing a great job controlling that lead foot. I talked to him before the game about that foot. He said that's the key, and I said, yep, I can tell watching you over the last 4 years. That's your key, but you're keeping it down and short quicker. He says, yeah, I've finally gotten a hang of that, trusting my hands more, trying not to get too far out in front. And he said, I'm thinking about left, center, and center, especially here. He told me he remembers Gordon's grand slam in that second tier of bushes out there in center field. He said he wants to do the same thing that Alex did.
Verlander goes back with the same pitch, and Hosmer wouldn't go for it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, we know that Hosmer has just worn out the Indians, and he did it again earlier on this trip. But how about his work against the Tigers? Over 400 in his last 17 games. He's hit safely in 16 of those 17 games. A shot to center field. So Verlander with a fastball at 94, and Hosmer was ready for it. And the Royals have their first runner.
Big yard here in center field. 420 straight away. It's 410 at the K. But there's not a ballpark that can hold Haas if he continues to stay short to the ball. Perfect swing right back up the middle. And Verlander, as he progresses, I'm sure he'll be going to his secondary pitches a lot more. And he threw a lot of them to Hosmer in that at bat. He knows the Royals are a fastball hitting team.
Marte had a tough time finding that ball for a moment. That is Jeffrey Marte, who's been playing at first base with Miguel Cabrera on the disabled list. Kendrys Morales, like Hosmer, has had a big road trip. He has driven in 8. And in his first year as a Royal, he is 4th in the American League with 73 RBIs. Verlander gets a pop-up out of him to the left side. Castellanos down from 3rd. 1 down. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Just use hashtag KC Data Strong Fan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. That's hashtag KC Data Strong Fan.
You know, just looking at this new lineup for Ned, and he doesn't make a lot of changes. And having Moose down in the 6th hole, he provides a lot more meat down there. Backing up Morales, giving him a little support. Salvi's hitting it back a Moose. So there's a little bit more power in that middle, it seems like. And it looks like a bona fide American League meat of the order. And they've been producing too.
Ground ball, base hit left field for Mike Moustakas. So he bats 6 for the first time this year and has a number 2 hitter type of base hit the other way like he has all season, and the Royals have 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, he's not going to change his approach at all. He's going to keep that same approach. Now, I'm sure that deep down he'd like to hit in that 2 hole, but he knows what's best for the team now with the addition of Zobrist. So as long as he's in that lineup, he's looking to do some damage. Doesn't matter where. There's no I in team for this Royals team this year. It's all about the mission that they're up under.
Verlander gets the call on Salvador Perez. Now McCann goes out to have a chat. That pitch may have crossed him up with a runner at second base. Our most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda, Salvador Perez. Only one hitter with 15 or more at bats has a higher average against Justin Verlander than Salvador Perez. And that would be Jose Abreu of the White Sox. We remember for years Billy Butler just wore out Justin Verlander. Salvador Perez, a .429 hitter against Verlander. Oh, and 2.
Had a chance to talk with Salvi a little bit about his offense, and he said he's just been a little bit too aggressive. We all know he's an aggressive hitter, but he said he's been loading up too much, and he's already loaded by the time the pitcher is releasing the ball, so he's committed. He's overcommitting. He said he would like to try to wait a little longer and try not to lead with his lead foot too far out. To not load up as early as he has been. Let the ball travel on him.
And there's a base hit into left center field. Here's Hosmer around third, and Salvador Perez gives the Royals a 1-0 lead. Both Mike Moustakas and Salvador Perez were 0 for their last 10. Going into those at-bats, they both have hits, and the Royals are in front.
Fastball's up, taking advantage of mistakes. That's exactly what you do. Salvi, man, that's right down the middle. He stayed really short with his swing, and let's check him out here. Okay, he's loading, but his front foot stays in the same position. That's good. He's able to keep his hands inside the ball, and he just laid out a nice single. Good level swing. Didn't try to do too much.
Alex Rios takes low. Rios, like Salvador Perez, has had some success in the past against Justin Verlander. Fastball at 94. So the last 4 hitters in the Royals batting order like to bust out of some mini slumps. Mike Moustakas has. He was 0 for his last 10. Salvador Perez has 0 for his last 10, and now Rios hitless in his last 8 at bats, and Infante 0 for his last 11.
Rios looks like he's trying to do a little bit too much, trying to pull him. His head's coming off the ball just a tad. JD Martinez in right field. He has their best arm. 12 outfield assists in right.
Curveball struck him out. Rios hesitant to leave the box. He thought that was down. Still talking it over with home plate umpire Mark Wegner. Two down, and now Omar Infante.
Rajai Davis, he has 2 outfield assists in left and 2 for Ghosts in center. Sun can be really difficult on a line shot to left field right now. The sun is really looking in Davis's face, but Davis has his sunglasses up on his hat. So apparently he's able to get a good view on contact here, but the sun is blinding him.
Check swing and a called strike. 0-2 on Infante.
There's that look. He's looking right into the teeth, but doesn't need his glasses. We'll see on a line shot. Anything in the air shouldn't be a problem, but those liners will be tough. Fonte 266 with the runner in scoring position.
From the sun to the shade, Davis makes a play to end the inning. Eric Hosmer started things with a leadoff single. Mike Moustakas moved him into scoring position, and Salvador Perez got Hosmer home. 1-0 KC. The Royals would like to invite all local business professionals to Kauffman Stadium on Thursday, August 27th for Business Day at the K. The event will feature a pregame presentation by Royals General Manager Dayton Moore, networking opportunities and snacks, $10 loaded value to be used for food and beverage throughout the ballpark, and of course a chance to watch the game that night. The Royals will be playing the Baltimore Orioles again August 27th. You'll need a special ticket package, and that's at royals.com/business. Victor Martinez down, no balls, 2 strikes against Danny Duffy. Last time we saw the Tigers, Victor Martinez was really struggling, and especially from the left side of the plate. His surgically repaired left knee was giving him a bad time, and shortly after that he went on the disabled list.
We were calling for that any day because he needed a break. He's still not 100%. And from the right side, though, it doesn't affect it. He's hit 361. Left side, still just 213, but overall, you see him hitting 246, you're saying something's wrong with him.
Out to Escobar. And Duffy's knocked down the first 4.
Escobar happy to get off of that turf in Toronto. He said it was too slow for him. So, but Lorenzo Cain today, after playing 4 straight, he said he loved it. His body wasn't stiff. Yesterday was a good off day for all these guys, but sometimes when you play a 4-game series on turf, it can really affect your body. Esky didn't care too much about his body. He thought it was slow for offensive reasons. He said balls aren't getting through that normally get through on that turf. So he's happy to get back on natural surface.
And now it's 0-2 on J.D. Martinez. He said Victor Martinez was struggling. The last time these two teams played, J.D. Martinez was really struggling. He was in the middle of an 0 for 25 and was hitting 219. But at the end of that series and after that, he hit safely in 13 of 14 games, and right now he's one of the most dangerous hitters in the American League.
There is, and you better be careful when you pitch him down low, and that's where most people want to pitch him, and all hitters. So they hit the ball on the ground.
Stockett's got a big bounce. Hosmer goes into foul territory, 2 down.
Duffy getting some early count outs. That's really good for Danny. Typically, a lot of guys with Duffy's fastball, you know, he'll throw 95, might maybe a 96 in there. It's a lot of guys to foul him off. That taxes pitch count, but he's staying down and using his defense early. That's one thing that he's done well since he's come back from the disabled list this year.
James McCann. Getting a lot of playing time lately for the Tigers. Alex Avila been their longtime starter.
This young man, no, he's worked his way in there. Avila found out today before the game that his dad's the new general manager here. That average with lefties is coming down. It was in the 300s, 320. Now he's been able to find his groove against the lefties. The righties are the ones that usually cause him trouble, especially with the power. Last outing against Toronto, you know, he gave up a career high 3 home runs in that outing. But, you know, I think any pitcher that made mistakes out over the middle in that whole series, Toronto wasn't missing. Nothing to hang your head about. Beautiful change.
6 up, 6 down. Good start for Danny Duffy. The Royals lead 1-0 at the end of 2. First place by 8.5 games. Tigers fans are stunned. They found out earlier today that their longtime general manager, and there he is, Dave Dombrowski, who eventually became the president and CEO, was relieved of his duties earlier today. And we caught that during the Tigers' early batting practice. Dombrowski was out on the field talking on his cell phone. And Dombrowski is a general manager who's very present. He travels with the team. He is on the field quite a bit. Al Avila, his longtime assistant general manager, is now the Tigers GM. And so Dombrowski came out, and our crew was having some fun because he was on his phone as Davis goes into left center field to make the play. Alcides Escobar is 0 for 2. And he called in his son Landon, who was out shagging batting practice for the Tigers, and thought, you know, uh-oh, Landon's in trouble with dad or with mom. And of course we had no idea that Dombrowski was moving on and basically telling his son, we have to go, and left the stadium in what became not just a shocking day but kind of a sad day, leading the Tigers to 2 World Series, 4 consecutive division titles.
He's poured his heart and soul into this team. I happened to be in the truck when they were shooting that, and I was giving some commentary on that as we were seeing. I said, you know, their pitcher out there, Sanchez, was talking with Salvi in center field at the time, and he came out there with quite a step. You know, he was really charging out there towards the line. I said, hey, maybe he's traded Sanchez. He's calling for him to come in. And sure enough, it was his son. His son came up, and then he told his son, and his son went back out, got his wiffle ball bat and ball, and came back and came off the field. So that's what we were thinking, that maybe he was in trouble at home. But I think Dave told his son, hey, go get your ball and bat. We're going home. But very shocking news here around Detroit.
Yeah, everyone's just stunned. And he will be a general manager for another team very shortly, I'm sure.
If he wants that. He's done such a marvelous job. He won a world championship with the Marlins, his tenure down there. I had the experience to work with him when he was a brand new GM, the youngest GM in baseball in Montreal in 1989 and 90. He took over for then Bill Stoneman.
Outside, I think Verlander thought that was a strike. 3-2 on Zobrist.
Zobrist has a keen eye.
Davis backs up into the sunlight, and there are 2 down. Lorenzo Cain comes to the plate, and we go to Joel.
And Lorenzo Cain last September had a very memorable game here. Now, you guys will remember that, as we see in our AT&T Uverse rewind, the Tigers, they were the team to beat, and there was a lot of fraternizing going on the field. And that was the day that Lorenzo Cain, September 10th, said, enough. He turned to Victor Martinez at first and basically said, knock it off. We don't want to talk to you. We're sick of losing. They'd lost the first 2 games of that series. We saw fire from Lorenzo Cain in that series. The Royals went on to win. And talking to Eric Hosmer today, he said, you know what, Lorenzo has been a different guy ever since then. Much more mature at the plate, has the fire when he needs to, very locked in. And how about this, guys? Since that date, most game-winning RBIs in the American League. The only ones with more are his teammates, Eric Hosmer, Ben Zobrist, along with Albert Pujols and Nelson Cruz.
So 3 of the 5 are with the Royals. Royals down in order against Verlander in the 3rd. AT&T Uverse high-speed internet. The Uverse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT. By Panera Bread. Avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. 1-0 Royals and a Salvador Perez second inning RBI. Danny Duffy has set down the first 6 Tigers, and now Nick Castellanos leads off the third. Fooled by a breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike. Let's bring Joel back on. He's telling the story about Lorenzo Cain back here in September, and Cain made a quick out in the top of the third inning. What I remember about that night, and now it's 0-2, we were on the bus. That was the final game of a series, and Rusty Kuntz came on the bus and said, "Wow, you wouldn't believe what Lorenzo Cain just did." And of course we're all just listening, hanging on Rusty's every words, but the moral of the story was that was a defining moment in the season. It wasn't just a defining moment for Lorenzo, Joel, but that was a defining moment in the season for the Royals.
I think on a number of levels, because the Royals were actually ahead of the Tigers by just a small amount in the standings, but the Tigers were dominating that series, and the Royals hadn't knocked off the big boy on the block yet, and maybe they didn't at that point. But I think that's where we use that word swagger, where maybe they started to gain it, and Lorenzo Cain was showing it. Okay, that's great. You guys are the ones that are stealing our lunch money and patting us on the back. We're not going to take it anymore. And Lorenzo Cain wasn't necessarily the leader of the team at that point, guys, either, as we're going to see the first hit of the game for the Tigers against Duffy. But they still hadn't gotten to that point. And I want to point this out, too. Lorenzo Cain, who is now the number 3 hitter for the Royals, went 3 for 4 that day, batting 8th.
I had forgotten that.
But you know, playing every day, Lorenzo Cain starting to come into his own. That day, the leadership qualities started coming out, and he started becoming a leader. And when you do things like that on the field, sometimes you get the respect of your teammates. But he does a lot of good work in the clubhouse. But when you're in the heat of the battle, sometimes that's when your leaders are born, out there on that field. And he's an everyday player. He can do that.
But I thought it was interesting what Hosmer was telling me, that he's just seen a maturity from Lorenzo that maybe came after that moment. He knows when to crank it up. When you can't play with your hair on fire every single minute, although Hud, I think, tried to do that. But, you know, you need to be able to pick your spots. We don't see Lorenzo showing that fire on every single play. We see that great smile, but we also see him have those moments. And that's what Eric was talking about, that he's learned how to pick his spots, learn how to swing really big at times when he's looking for what he wants, and how to back off at other times. I think we've really seen a maturity that maybe was born that day and then solidified in the playoffs.
This is Jeffrey Marte. 2 balls, 1 strike. And basically, just to sum it up, Victor Martinez was playing first base that night for the Tigers. And the Tigers and the Royals, it's been a rivalry. It's been a very friendly and respectful rivalry. We haven't had bench clearing incidents. Infante going out. Cain coming in, and Cain thought that Infante might go out a little deeper into the outfield. Marte is out, number 1, and I think at least for Lorenzo Cain, maybe other members of the Royals, there would be some interaction on the bases. And on one hand, you can say, "Oh, that Miguel Cabrera, he's sure friendly."
Yeah.
Now, Victor Martinez, he's sure friendly. And then I think there was a shift in that it kind of felt patronizing. You know, like, you cute little guys trying to win the division. And it took somebody like Cain to say, "You know what? We want to beat you guys. You know, you might be a nice guy and everything, but I'm trying to beat you tonight, not be your friend." Royals turn the double play on the speedy Anthony Gose.
That was nice. Great turn by Infante.
captain. He holds the club's all-time single-season RBI record. He was the Royals Player of the Year 3 times, an All-Star 5 times, and now he is about to be the 26th member of the Royals Hall of Fame. We hope you'll join us as Michael is inducted before the Royals and Angels on Saturday, August 15th. And we hope you'll get to the ballpark early as we celebrate Mike's career. Tickets at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS, Saturday, August 15th. Justin Verlander's only run allowed was in the second inning, and it was Eric Hosmer leading off that inning with a single. 3 batters later, Salvador Perez got him to the plate. This is Hosmer's 60th career at bat against Justin Verlander.
Curveball first pitch. Haas looks really calm, and that's good. Calm and quiet with his body language.
Good run on that fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, I've noticed Hosmer started a bit of a trend. The grip on his bat is a bright yellow, and we've seen him have a bright green grip. That is an aluminum bat grip. It has some, it's kind of more of a foamy texture to it than just the regular athletic tape. It's called lizard grip. And he started using that in the wintertime because it took some of the vibration out of the bat. And I've noticed playing other teams that more guys are picking up on it. He's not the only guy that has the bright color. He said the company realized that he was using it and started sending him some different colors. He is 2 for 2. He's been a good leadoff man tonight. So now with Hosmer hitting the way he is, everyone wants to figure out what he's doing. Well, maybe it's that grip he's using on his bat.
Moose and a few other hitters are doing the same thing. That ball off the bat was a knuckleball. He squared that up as good as you can hit a baseball. It was knuckling back out past Iglesias, the shortstop. 2 solid singles up the middle. Good start for Haas. Curveball, fastball, changeup, curveball to Haas. There's a changeup. All right, second time through, he's going to start mixing them up and bringing in his secondary pitches, just like our scouting report told us. Morales doesn't use that wrap around his bat, but he's a batting glove guy. Now he'll use batting gloves when he's going good, and when he's not going good, he'll take the gloves off and go with no batting gloves. And usually that's about all our conversation is about when I see him each day. I'll say, hey, gloves tonight? He goes, yep, see.
So if we see him without batting gloves, and he's not going to have a very good game?
No, maybe he's not going good.
It's just to mix it up?
Yeah, it's all about the feel. You know, and ball players are superstitious.
Never heard that before.
Well, no, you know that's right. But Moustakas, he said he's using that wrap around the bat. When he's going good, he'll stay with it. But when he's not going so good, he'll use one with no wrap. Very particular, hitters are. And in spring training, talking with hitting coach Dale Swaim about Morales. You know, Morales' timing wasn't exactly right in spring training. When everything he swung at was a fastball, but he couldn't make any contact with the off-speed pitches. So Dale Swaim was going, man, I don't know how Morales is going to do it because they're going to throw him a lot of off-speed pitches, but we're seeing how he does it.
And there's a changeup down and away to strike him out. That's Verlander's second.
Morales has a really good ability to be able to recognize what the pitcher's trying to do to it.
Mike Moustakas in his first at bat as a number 6 hitter, singled to left. which he was doing a lot of in the first half of the season, going the other way. That got Hosmer into scoring position, and Salvador Perez got him home, and he takes a changeup down and away, ball one.
Second time through, first pitch off speed to all three hitters.
So here's a change. The Verlander of old would get stronger. At least it appeared that way as the game would go on. He was a bit vulnerable, like a lot of good pitchers in the early innings, but once he was hit his stride, he'd be unhittable. And I remember Justin Verlander threw his first major league shutout at Kauffman Stadium, and he was still throwing 99 miles an hour in the ninth inning.
Pretty impressive.
Those days are over.
Right. A lot of mileage. A lot of years of throwing with that high octane fastball. That'll wear you down eventually.
Curveball's a little bit high.
Stayed up. In his last two starts, we talked about how he went 8 innings in both of those starts. And that was Boston and Tampa Bay. Two offenses that are a little soft. So this will be a good test for Verlander today.
Two and two. There was a time when Justin Verlander was almost unhittable against the Royals. It took the Royals 12 starts to get a win against him. But even the year that he was most valuable player and Cy Young winner, the Royals were starting to figure him out. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and lately we're talking 14 starts now. He's just been average. But look at that. First 21 starts, 14-2 with an ERA under 2.5. But in his last 14, 500 and an ERA of almost 4.5.
Yeah, Royals brought him back to the pack. Going to a lot of off-speed pitches here on Moose. Be surprised if he throws him a heater. He did, but it was off the plate. And with no Max Scherzer and no David Price anymore, Verlander's starting to feel like, all right, I'm the guy again. It's time for me to step up. It's time for me to help my team get back to where we need to be. It's yet to be seen. But mentally, he's thinking that way.
Got him with a fastball at 94. 3 strikeouts for Verlander, 2 down in the 4th inning. And now Salvador Perez down in the count, 0-2 in the 2nd inning. He singled against Verlander and drove in Hosmer, adding to his already impressive numbers against the Detroit right-hander.
Be hard for runners to get a jump on Verlander. He's so quick with his feet. He's got a nice pickoff move over there. Keep him close.
And that's hit well to left field. Davis is back. It is gone. Salvador Perez has driven in all 3 for the Royals tonight. That is home run number 16.
Woo, and that's why Verlander's a little leery of throwing fastballs. And when there's a mistake and it's anywhere in the hitting zone, especially now, that's 2 pitches in a row. And consecutive at-bats to Salvi that were fastballs right down the middle. Look at his load. He's keeping his front side closed and just delivered the goods. Beautiful compact swing.
Rios pops it up to shallow left field. Royals, who have been so good this year with 2 outs, get 2 more with 2 down. A 3 RBI night for Salvador Perez, and we're only in the 4th inning. Joaquim Soria, they were traded away, and he also doesn't have Miguel Cabrera, who is on the disabled list with a calf injury. Our University of Kansas Hospital injury report: a strained left calf about a month ago. And the Tigers offensively haven't had much of a drop off since then, but they have gone from 1 game above 500 to 4 games below 500 without Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, well, Miggy's one of the best right-handed hitters in our game today. You take him out of your lineup, that's going to hurt. But the fact that Cespedes is gone, that's given Rajay Davis an opportunity to play more left field. He hadn't been playing a whole lot with Cespedes there and left. So I'm sure he's happy to get in there every day, get some timing down.
Duffy with a 3-pitch strikeout. Tigers having a tough time with his breaking ball. There's Danny's 2nd strikeout.
He's getting good depth to that pitch, and he's putting it where he wants it. We've been seeing him throw that curveball high up in the strike zone. Talking with Dave Island before the game, I said, "Is that by design?" He said, "No." He didn't want to hang those pitches up there, even though he's been getting some called 3rd strikes on that pitch up in the zone. He wants that pitch right where he threw it to Davis.
Jose Iglesias, Tigers shortstop, fly to center in the 1st inning. And 1 ball, 1 strike to Iglesias.
He's been raking left-handers this year. 375, 5 doubles, a triple, and a homer.
Base hit, left center field. Just the 2nd hit for the Tigers tonight.
He's a nice looking player. This guy should be in the Tiger uniform for a long time to come.
Having a little chat with Omar Vizquel, Tigers first base coach, one of the greatest infielders of all time, Omar Vizquel, an 11-time Gold Glove winner.
So Iglesias, even though he has those natural skills to play shortstop, he's got one of the best mentors you can have. Vizquel.
And now Ian Kinsler jolts it to deep left center, but Zobrist was playing over that way, so he doesn't have much of an adjustment. Didn't have very far to go to make the play on Kinsler. 2 down. So Victor Martinez with a runner at first and 2 down. Duffy got Martinez on a ground ball to short in the second inning. Popped up center of the diamond, and it's Moustakas. 4 scoreless innings for Duffy, pitching with a 3-0 lead in Detroit. Hoffman Stadium, and a week from tomorrow is our next student night and local music showcase presented by Inc. Magazine. You can mingle with friends and enjoy food and drink specials exclusively for students out in the outfield experience, and you can listen to live music from local Kansas City bands. Grizzly Hand on August the 12th against the Tigers. Get your $8 tickets at the box office or at royals.com/student night. Salvador Perez has driven in all 3 against Justin Verlander with an RBI single and a 2-run home run. And now it's Infante, Escobar, and Zobrist in the 5th inning. Infante flied to left in the 2nd inning.
You know, just watching Verlander pitch, I'm not used to seeing him be a thumber. It's a term used for a guy throwing off-speed pitches. But he's evolving into a pitcher.
That'll be for extra bases. Infante will be at second base with nobody out. So Moustakas, Perez, and Infante were at least 0 for their last 10 coming into tonight. And all of those offers have been wiped away.
Take that 21st double. And the report on Verlander was he was commanding his fastball a lot better. The reason why he was able to get through Boston and Tampa Bay's lineups. But man, he's been leaving some pitches up. And the Royals aren't missing them. And with the velocity that he used to have, he could get away with throwing fastballs up there because he could blow it by guys. Wow. Infante thought Iglesias was pulling a hidden ball trick on him. He came up to talk to him, and Infante went back to the base.
Just foul up the first base side.
Great idea. Scott Escobar to hit a couple of lazy fly balls to the right fielder and left fielder in his first 2 at bats. Now he wants to just see if he can get Infante over to third base. He has the ability to do that. Some guys don't have a hard. I mean, they have a hard time getting runners over. It's just hitting the ball to the right field side, but not Escobar.
And this time bunting. Verlander's play is to first. Infante goes to third. Let's get a Mazda game break from Joel.
Well, after that supercharged series over the weekend, who do you root for in this one? This was yesterday, and that's Josh Donaldson doing to Minnesota what he often did in that series. Didn't have a whole lot of chirping with the umpire yesterday, but he did go deep, 27th of the year. And so that's why the Twins now 8.5 games back. There was some news today. Alcides Escobar was hit by that pitch of Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez was ejected. He has been suspended 3 games for intentionally throwing at a hitter by Major League Baseball.
Ben Zobrist, right field corner, and that'll get the 4th run home. Joel, proceed.
Just wanted to make sure. I thought we'd have a run there. Sanchez suspended. He's going to appeal the suspension. He says, of course, that he absolutely was not throwing intentionally at him. John Gibbons saying hopefully they'll get that suspension knocked down. John Gibbons, the Blue Jays manager, was suspended 1 game for coming back out onto the field. He is, how about this, the first Blue Jays manager suspended since Carlos Tosca back in 2003. Gibby, you can't appeal that. He's serving that suspension tonight.
So mostly friendly Blue Jays managers over the years, at least the last 12 years.
I think Gibby was doing whatever he could to stick up for his players.
Yeah.
Still a good guy.
That's exactly what he was doing.
Great guy, by the way. Boy, we loved having him here, didn't we?
You know, and I had somebody say to me the other day, well, isn't that the guy that got in, that incident a bunch of years ago with, with the pitcher? What was it, Ted Lilly? And I think that people that have never met him think, oh, that's that guy. But I've talked to a lot of baseball players over the years that passed through Toronto one time or another that played for him, and he is really revered among not just broadcasters, but players, too.
Yeah, the other story, too, Shea Hillenbrand was an infielder, and the Blue Jays were struggling, and I guess on the chalkboard in the clubhouse, he wrote something like, play for yourselves, the ship is sinking, or something like that. And John Gibbons, in front of the whole team, challenged Shea Hillenbrand. So with those 2 stories, when he came to the Royals, I thought, man, I'm going to tiptoe around this guy. And he shows up in a T-shirt and jeans and cowboy boots, and I'm thinking, oh boy. And he is one of the nicest men in the game, John Gibbons. He was not what I expected at all. But like a lot of fiery players, once they put that uniform on and the game starts, that competitive nature takes over, and at least for 3 hours every night, maybe not so nice. Lorenzo Cain just missed that. And Ghost in a deep left center field to make the play and end the inning. Omar Infante with a leadoff double. Escobar gets him to third, and Ben Zobrist has 8 RBIs as a Royal and gets Infante home. over 1,000 miles, almost 2,000 miles, and back home in Kansas City. This is the beautiful baby daughter of our director Steve Kurtenbach and his wife Erin, born yesterday, Emerson Grace. And Steve left on Sunday, and the guys in the truck can help me out here. He had a canceled flight, didn't he? Had to wait another day. That's right. He went from Toronto to Atlanta, which of course is on the way to Kansas City, and then had a flight canceled in Atlanta, but was able to get back to Kansas City in time for the birth of Emerson Grace. So congratulations to Steve and Erin. Steve's wife, Erin Bajackson. Many of you remember her from her days at Metro Sports.
Way to go, Erin. Way to hold off for Papa to come home. Way to go. That's beautiful. Congratulations.
Three and one to J.D. Martinez. Duffy got him on a ground ball to third in the second inning. Tigers have 2 singles in the first 4 innings against Duffy. And ball 4, a close pitch. Second time the Tigers have had their leadoff man on. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com. You'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. And speaking of that, most recently the Royals announced that Lorenzo Cain was the Player of the Month in July, and Wade Davis was the Pitcher of the Month in July. And every time you mention Lorenzo Cain being the Player of the Month, somebody hits the ball right to him. James McCann is out, 1 down in the 5th inning.
Right on cue. Lorenzo Cain, man, he definitely drove the bus. Now Hosmer, he had a good July too. This will be interesting to see who was going to get that award, but congratulations to Cain. Haas is continuing to rake into August, and he gets to lead off next inning.
Hosmer hit .385 in the month of July, had the second most hits. Cain scored the most runs in the month of July, but like you said, it could have gone to either one.
Duffy, that fastball, that's beautiful. That's exactly what he wants. That just follow that shoulder, keep that shoulder heading right towards your target, and use that downward angle, that little plane he's got going there, and that's firm. Stay with it. Good spot. Duffy has evolved. He's induced 13 ground ball double plays this year, and that tells me a lot about his maturity. He no longer is trying to blow guys away. He's maturing every start, a lot like Ventura, getting better and better, learning more about changing speeds. Ooh, good swing.
Curveball stayed up. That was an 0-2 pitch to Castellanos, and the Tigers have 2 on with 1 out.
A little bit too good, 0-2. That was a hanger. Castellanos with a nice inside-out swing on it. See how he saw that. He knew that was going to be up.
Fox Sports Kansas City invites you to join current and former Royals players on the field August 31st for Diamond of Dreams. You'll enjoy a delicious menu from local restaurants, live music from American authors, and a great fireworks show, all for charity. Tickets at royals.com/Diamond of Dreams. It's a great event. Spend the night walking around the field at Kauffman Stadium.
It's a lot of fun. I'm hoping that we can go.
Jeffrey Marte. First time the Royals have seen him. He is originally out of the Mets organization. Made his big league debut this year after 7.5 years in the minor leagues with 3 different organizations. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yep, you know, they like his potential for home runs. They think he's got some power potential in him. Maybe 15 to 20 home runs. He's hitting over maybe 250, 260 is what they project this young man to do. He's got good gap power, but I think with some at-bats that he'll turn into more of a power threat.
Two and one.
Third base is his main position. But with Castellano, a young third baseman there, he looks like he's going to have to mix in a little bit of first and wherever he can.
Overthrew it. Sal had to jump out of his crouch to save it. 3-1.
Yeah, Sal had to take a look at the webbing in his glove, make sure it was still intact. So he's used to catching that ball right there in the meat of his glove. That one caught his webbing. Now he's trying to get Duffy's attention. Come on. Let's stay down for a ground ball.
Got him to chase ball 4. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Now 3-1. He was looking to drive, and he knows that ball was out of the zone.
Still 3-2. Very close. And now the bases are loaded with 1 down. Duffy has walked 2 in the inning. One thing I remember about Duffy's start on Thursday at Toronto, we've talked about the 3 home runs. Danny walked 4, but it wasn't the old Danny Duffy walking 4. He wasn't all over the place, and he was dealing with a bit of a tight strike zone. And there are a few occasions where he was just forced to catch more of the plate, and that was just the wrong time for any pitcher to be in Toronto.
There's no doubt about it. We talked about their offense, how you can only look at each hitter one at a time. You can't look on deck. You can't afford to. And now Dave Island, he's coming out saying, all right, hey Danny, look, your offense has done a good job of giving you a nice lead here. Don't let these guys back in the game. Keep the ball down and use your defense here. Let's roll a pair and get out of it.
And this is the only left-hand batter in the lineup, Anthony Gose, and he has grounded into a double play tonight. Grounded out 5-4-3 to end the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, and that was a nicely rolled double play too by Moose, and then over to Infante.
HUD was telling you that number against lefties has been going down. Left-hand batters are just 2 for their last 13 against Duffy. And now Danny's ahead 0-2 on Gose, who has not been swinging the bat well lately. He's had a good year against the Royals, but he coming into this at bat, in his last 38 at bats, he has 4 hits. Breaking ball, ground ball. There's only 1 out, and the Royals get it at the plate.
Take what they give you. Nice read by Escobar. Could have gotten the out at first base, but he says, hey, look, my momentum's taking me right to the plate. Heck, I'm just going to get the easy force at home. Nice adjustment, and that's all you can do as an infielder. You play the ball how it's hit, the speed of the ball, and Escobar read it perfectly.
And if you're only going to get one out, why not keep them off the board?
Right. Excellent decision.
So they're loaded up with 2 down to Rajai Davis. Curveball bends in for a strike. 0-1. Davis is 0 for 2. He has grounded out to Moustakas, and he has struck out on a curveball, just like the one that Duffy threw. Another curve, bad swing. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yep. You throw a beautiful first pitch breaker. Why not throw it again? He might come back and triple up with it. This was even better. That was even lower. The one before that had a little bit elevation to it, but nice bite to it. Hitters just 1 for 26 with runners in scoring position in Duffy's last 8 starts. He's been good.
Back with a fastball, and he pops it up. So Duffy survives a scare in the 5th inning. The Tigers had the bases loaded, 1 out, and they are scoreless. Royals have Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas in our Sonic Slam inning. Tonight's contestant is Cindy Bordstadt from Lenexa. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Cindy wins $1,500. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Cindy wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Cindy, I like your chances this inning. Oh, this Hosmer's been just on the ball tonight. 2 beautiful base hits right back up the middle. The last one, he knuckleballed it up the middle. He hit it so good. And he just missed that slider.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Haas swung over the top of that one. You know, and the old Verlander, usually by the 5th inning, he would have expended 90 pitches already, sometimes 85, 90, because he would foul off that high fastball all the time. Now he's pitching to contact, and this is his 70th. 71st.
Hosmer on Sunday lost a 14-game hitting streak against R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, who was on top of his game that day. And now Hosmer has 2 hits today. And it was pointed out to me by Mike Swanson, Royals vice president, that Eric Hosmer has a 15-game hitting streak against non-knuckleballers.
Really?
Royals got 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth. Hosmer led off both of those innings and reached. So 1 in the second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. They have scored in 3 of the last 4 innings. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Verlander's saying right now, oh man, the high fastballs, I'm a little nervous about putting them up there, and he didn't bite on that hook. Oh, maybe I'll try the changeup. Haas loves that high fastball.
Low target, and down and in, 3-2.
You can tell when a hitter's going good. They don't flinch. They're not jumpy. They are just really calm, and that's exactly where Haas is tonight.
High fastball got him to pop it up. Castellanos makes the play on the grass, and Hosmer is out for the first time tonight. Royals fans, the StubHub app is personalized just for you, and now with the app you can select your team and artists, discover new favorites, and grab tickets wherever you want. Get to the App Store today and get the StubHub app. Start at StubHub and let the fun find you. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Royals. Tough to concentrate tonight when you're looking at the hitter, and behind him you can get a 1-hour full body massage for $29.95.
It's a pretty good deal. Where do you sign up?
That's what I've been watching all night. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you sign up?
Well, we don't want to give him free advertising, but I mean that would distract me.
It's a pretty good price.
What is that asterisk? Said like Verlander got a glove on it, couldn't find it, and has no play. Morales has an infield single.
Well, Morales is saying to Verlander, thank you very much, because they would have gotten that one up the middle. That's the 5th infield hit by Morales this year, who doesn't get very many. He'll take that. That's the 98th infield hit by the Royals this year. That's 5th in baseball.
Man on for Mike Moustakas, and he slashes it foul to the left field side. Mike Moustakas batting 6th tonight. He has hit in the number 2 position all year, which has been a great fit for him and the Royals. But Ben Zobrist, who's more of a number 2 type of hitter, allows Moustakas to slide down, and Ned Yost was saying that it's a good fit for Zobrist. It's a good fit for Moustakas, hoping to get more men on base in front of him. A little bit inside, 1-1.
And Moose is a guy that Verlander's been trying to get that fastball by him up. Now he got Hosmer to pop it up, and he's been trying to do the same thing for Moose. Struck him out on a high fastball his last time up.
There's a fastball up, 1-2.
And Moose, that time he had a little turn and burn swing on him. Moose not going to change his approach, and he shouldn't in that 6th hole. But it's more of a run production spot and a power spot, so he has that. He's still got that good stroke. He's got 10 homers.
Lost a bat. Still 1-2.
Now that bat, his extra has the tape on the handle. But you know, each hitter has three bats that he brings out there that are his gamers, and they keep them right there. The bat boys do, right on the top step. So whenever they do break a bat like that, to speed the game up, the bat boy just brings him one of his gamers. See how he does with this one with 2 strikes.
High fastball, 94. 2 down. 4 strikeouts for Verlander. And now Salvador Perez. And how will Verlander pitch him this time around?
Well, better stay away from that fastball. He's all over it. Second consecutive hit on the night, and the previous hit was a base hit up the middle, and that one there he got up underneath it nicely. Knocked in 3 of the 4 runs tonight for the Royals. Better try off-speed pitches on him.
Who could have imagined a hitter in a slump would think, you know what, I just need to face Justin Verlander to get my swing right again.
Yeah.
But that's the case for Salvi. Yeah. He just sees the ball well out of Verlander's hand.
Right pitcher in the right time. Help get Salvi right.
Up the middle and into center field. Salvador Perez is 3 for 3, so he adds to those impressive numbers against Verlander. The Royals have 2 on, 2 out.
Going good, you find holes like that. Nice top spin, 2 bouncer over Verlander's head. Beautiful. Another fastball. All 3 hits are on that pitch. And Verlander keeps throwing it to him. Tell you what, the off day had to have been really nice for these players. They haven't had too many off days in a while. And good day to recharge mentally and physically. Nice little town in Birmingham, a suburb of Detroit. They have a couple of movie theaters there, a lot of nice restaurants. Guys are just on their own yesterday.
Rios, left center field, not well hit, and it drops. Morales scores. Rios to second with a hustling double. It is 5-0 KC, and now they have scored in 4 of the last 5 innings against Verlander. So Moustakas, Perez, Rios, and Infante had little slumps coming into tonight, and now they all have base hits.
Perfect time for a doinker. Both outfielders taking off, turning their backs like Rios hit it a lot further. Tough read, but that'll work for a base hit. And actually a double. He'll take that 2-bagger. Good hustle with a stake attached. Nice doinker. You gotta love it. Not Osmus though. He's not thrilled.
Medyo's last 4 hitters tonight: Moustakas, Perez, Rios, Infante. Moustakas had been 0 for 10. He ended that with a single. Salvador Perez 0 for 10, 3 for 3 tonight. Rios had been 0 for 10 before that double. And Omar Infante was 0 for 12 before his double in the 5th inning. Check swing on a slider away, 2-0. Now McCann and Verlander will chat. Strike over the inside, 2-1 on Infante, who came up through the Tigers organization, signed him out of Venezuela as a 16-year-old. Was gone for several years playing in the National League and came back to rejoin the Tigers. Went to the World Series with them in 2011. Broken bat. That ball is going to hang up for Ghosts and end the inning. Alex Rios drives in Kendrys Morales. Danny Duffy back to the mound in the bottom of the 6th, and now he has a 5-0 lead. Was the 5th inning, bases loaded, 1 out. We welcome in Jeff Montgomery, and Duffy kept his composure and got through that.
Yeah, really nice sign for Danny Duffy to work through his issues there. A little trouble, and he's able to get a big ground ball double play to get out of an inning and work out of the bases loaded situation.
He's a good listener. Dave, whenever Dave Island goes out, he pays attention to what he's saying. And he did exactly like Dave said. Let's go. Your offense is giving you some good support. Don't let it back in the game.
Well, critical part of the game, too. And if you got a defense like the Royals have, why not play it? I thought that was a great play by Alcides Escobar, too, keeping the Tigers off the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was only 1 out on that play, and he figured, well, if we're only going to get 1 out, might as well keep them from scoring. Yeah, now sometimes the conservative player, the right play, they will say is, well, just get the out at first base. And especially if you have somewhat of a comfortable lead. But I haven't always agreed with that. I mean, if you're going to get 1 out, keep a run off the board. You never know. That could be the first of many runs to come later in the game. And then you look back and you say, that was 1 run we could have prevented.
Well, and as a pitcher, you like it too. It protects you a little bit with regards to ERA. But that play was right in front of him, so it's very easy for him to make that decision.
Iglesias has one of the 3 hits for the Tigers. He rolls it out to Infante. hustling up the line. Iglesias is out by half a step. Danny Duffy 5 1/3 scoreless innings, and he hasn't reached 70 pitches yet.
Monty, his curveball is looking really good. It has some really good depth to it, but he's putting it where he wants to. I was asking Dave Island before the game, you know, all those high curveballs he's been getting at the top of the zone. Is that planned? He says, no, Hud. We want to keep that ball down. So that's exactly what he's been doing tonight.
Well, and as a pitcher, oftentimes you're going to know when you have that good feel for that curveball. Tonight he's had it. There's only been a few pitches on that curveball where he's been really kind of more lateral on it. Hadn't been over top as much, but he seems to recognize that, and he gets right back into that arm slot, and he gets the one that's got the 12-6 action.
Hitters love lateral movement. That means it stays in that hitting zone a little bit longer, and they can get a good rip on it.
(3-0) on Ian Kinsler, the former MU Tiger. Duffy's third walk. Our sprint cuts of the game against Danny Duffy tonight, Monty.
Yeah, he's really made the adjustment. His last game, he pitched a contact, but unfortunately a very, very difficult Blue Jays lineup. Tonight, pitching a contact. He's got good stuff. I really like the way he's locating his off pitches, get some help from the defense. It's a pretty good recipe for some success tonight for Danny Duffy.
Yeah, by the swings these guys are taking, doesn't look like to me they're seeing the ball very well out of Duffy's release point.
Yep. Nice deception.
Kinsler takes off. Now, if we were in St. Louis, this would be defensive indifference. Stolen base for Kinsler. Boy, that was debated for several days after that game, wasn't it?
Sure was. What was it, a one-run game, wasn't it?
It was a one-run game. Runners at first and third. Trevor Rosenthal's on the mound, and Mike Matheny went out and clearly said, let's not worry about the runner at first base, which became the go-ahead run. So I don't remember who the runner was, but they called it defensive indifference, which the Cardinals did let the runner take second base, but it was an important runner. And oh, what a debate. Victor Martinez will turn that one-out walk into a run. Kinsler scores to make it 5-1.
Really nothing hurt for Danny Duffy. It takes a lot of singles in a 5-run game to beat. You just got to keep guys off base. Can't give any more free passes. Just keep pitching contact. Do exactly what you've done in the first half of this ball game. You'll be just fine.
And all four Tigers hits have been singles. Now, dangerous hitter and J.D. Martinez can take a very dangerous swing there. 0-1.
Talking about Martinez, though, in his first at bat, how dangerous he is in the lower part of the zone. He has a great bottom hand, and he's able to lift those pitches and hit them out of the park to straightaway center. So you want to pitch this guy up in the zone.
Yeah, and I think he's a guy, too, that you can really get in on if you want to, because he does have that great power the other way. I see they had a lot of home runs to right field.
It's because he stays inside so well. But he's able to lift that ball down there where a lot of guys will hit it and roll over. And will have the ability with that bottom hand like he does.
Right.
29 home runs, 19 of those since the middle of June. And over that stretch, that's the most in the major leagues. That's hit well to right center. Cain is there. 2 down. Are we starting to downplay Lorenzo Cain's work in center field? Remember Ned Yost said that after a while in Atlanta watching Andrew Jones that, you know, he was so good that he'd make a good play, and after a while you just kind of got used to it. I've asked myself a few times, was that a really good play or was that a routine play?
That's a good point, Rhino. But look, that's a compliment, really, to Lorenzo Cain. His tremendous skills that he can get to all those balls. You almost expect it, and when he misses one, like that one that bounced on the turf, and he kind of misjudged and it went over his glove, you're like, wow, what did he? Was that him that did that?
Well, he certainly put his name on the map everywhere we go. People ask me, how does this guy get to all those baseballs? I mean, balls in the gaps that a lot of times outfielders don't even come close to getting, and sometimes he catches them still on his feet. Great closing speed.
There are times where after the game I'll run into the other team's broadcasters on the way out and they'll say, man, you guys are good defensively. And I'll think, well, yeah, but what great play was there tonight? And I start to realize, there are some plays that we're just getting used to, like Lorenzo Cain and Alcides Escobar and Alex Gordon and Eric Hosmer, that after a while, I just wonder, are we taking good plays for granted and only getting excited for the exceptional plays? Here comes Rios to the line in right field, so the Tigers get one. Duffy's given up 1 run in 6 innings. The Royals still have a 4-run lead to the 7th inning. Reminds us the players to watch today. And on that list, Salvador Perez, good call. Salvi 3 for 3, continues to pile up big numbers against Justin Verlander. He's driven in 3. Ian Kinsler has scored a run. Go to DraftKings.com, enter the promo code BRoyal to play fantasy baseball daily for free. Top of the order, Escobar, Zobrist, and Cain. Those 3 are hitless so far against Justin Verlander. He's done a good job against the top third. Zobrist does have an RBI, but the Royals' production tonight has come from the 5 through 9 hitters. Escobar helped set up a run in the 5th inning with a sacrifice bunt, and now he rolls it out to Iglesias. 1 down in the 7th inning. Monty, was there a time in your career where you had to reinvent yourself?
I think after a shoulder surgery, had to learn mechanics, had to learn how to be consistently in that arm slot, had to learn a lot about myself and about my mechanics that I really almost took for granted earlier in my career. Then you lose your, you lose some stuff. You lose some ability to finish your breaking pitches, and it just flattens out a little bit. But the thing I've noticed about Verlander, particularly tonight, is he doesn't get outs in the strike zone the way he used to. He used to be able to challenge guys in the strike zone and get guys out. Now, in order to get outs, he, for the most part, has to either climb the ladder with his fastball or throw those pitches that finish off the plate and guys chase him. He's really more of an ordinary pitcher now. Not to say he won't be very successful, but I don't think we'll ever see the same Verlander with the type of stuff that he used to have.
Up the middle, and Ben Zobrist has his first hit, and that is base hit number 10 for the Royals. And with Zobrist on, as we promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. Just tweet your photo to hashtag KC Data Strong Fan for a chance to have it featured in an upcoming broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. Is that Rand? Is that on the Great Wall of China, Randy?
I've never been there, but it looks like it.
How about that? Randy and friends all wearing Royals t-shirts.
We've got Royals fans all over the world. And a lot of the fans from Toronto that we saw there said, hey, you know what? We're just going to go on to Detroit and watch the team there. Good idea. Easy drive if you're driving.
This will be pitch number 100 for Verlander. Yeah, as you were describing Verlander, Monty, I mean, he's got the stuff to be a good pitcher. I mean, he's still throwing 93, 94, occasionally 95. Breaking ball looks good. Changeup looks good. The question is, good enough at those prices?
I don't think he would be getting the same contract. But can still obviously anchor a rotation again. Not the maybe the Cy Young caliber of guy that he was year after year. But those type of seasons, you know, they take their toll. And he was a guy that really would never come out of games. Didn't want to come out of games, even if it may be a 7-1 game in the 8th inning, and he's at 102 pitches. He wouldn't have finished those games up. You know, build those numbers, build those, and kind of old school type guy, wanted to finish what he started, and he did that a lot. But it did take its toll.
And you know, he had that injury for a big part of the year here. We'll have to see how he does from start to finish next year. That'll be a good tail sign of how he's adjusting to his new pitching style without that major velocity.
Well, the thing I've noticed about him is, and I started talking with Joel about this over a year ago, was when he was playing catch in the outfield, his arm slot was almost below 3/4 arm slot, and he's not a below 3/4 arm slot guy. He's a guy that throws over top, and I'm seeing now he's getting his arm back on top, which tells me he does have his health back. So that gives him the chance, you know, to stay in the game.
To Hud's point, though, I mean, that was the excuse last year, because remember 2 off seasons ago he had some abdominal surgery, and so he had a slow start in spring training. And last year's excuse was, well, he didn't have his full off season. He wasn't able to get his abs and his legs as strong as he normally would. So then, you know, this year he had a full off season, but then he had the triceps strain.
And you know, we talked about it earlier too, Monty. No Scherzer, no Price. So he certainly has the name to be the ace. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him get back to being a dominant pitcher again, because what we're seeing tonight is some 95s. You know, he can be good. A.J. Burnett, unfortunately, might have thrown his last pitch because he's having some elbow issues. Look at how he's evolved. And, you know, he went to a lot more sinkers and a lot more off-speed pitches, but he was successful.
Cain down on strikes. Zobrist gets back in time, 2 down.
And the thing that Verlander still does have is the ability to locate his fastball. And he's located, like we saw the pitch there to Lorenzo Cain, he located it very nicely. A pitch would be hard to do anything with. But the difference in that fastball that he threw and the one you may have seen, say, in 2012 when he was the All-Star Game starter, was he would just challenge you in the middle part of the plate and let the life of the ball take over. He didn't have to really nibble as much.
Yeah, and I heard he didn't do a lot of homework on hitters. You know, he basically just relied on his ability.
Yep.
And now he's starting to study up a little bit more on hitters. And he's coming out of that. But you win an MVP and a Cy Young, you're going to get rewarded. And ownership here took care of it.
And one thing about studying up on hitters, that's one thing I've really been impressed with Johnny Cueto and his ability to really just be a very cerebral pitcher.
Hosmer is out. He's had a good game. 2 hits, 2 runs scored. The Royals have 5 against Verlander in 7 innings.
On the league, Toronto, Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki going deep. Houston leading Texas. Tampa Bay on top of Chicago, Cleveland, and L.A. yet to begin. Our Mazda game break takes us to Seattle and Colorado, and Robinson Cano with the RBI, low scoring affair early, and a bit of a miscue out there in center field, 2-1. Mariners leading in that one here in Detroit. Danny Duffy back on the hill. Last year, guys, Danny Duffy's big influence was James Shields. Told him just to embrace that fire out there. This year, he has another California native that has been a good friend and mentor, and that has been Chris Medlin, who's told him something a little bit different, not to go against what James Shields said, but said just go out there, chill out a little bit, and have some fun. Enjoy it. Medlin and Duffy have become very good friends, and what Duffy says, or what Medlin said, is Duffy showed up, and they were at spring training, and Medlin's the new guy, and he walks in, and Duffy walks right up to him and says, man, I'm really drawing inspiration for the amount of work that you've put in on 2 Tommy John surgeries, and he made him feel very comfortable. That's Lorenzo Cain. That's what he does. Wow. Well, thought he was going to get it, guys. The rare non-catch for Lorenzo.
Ball really carried on him. I think there's about 3 or 4 different times that Lorenzo thought that ball was going to come down sooner than it did.
And might have got his back a little bit on it, too.
Well, you know, that ball, that wind was really picking up, and he was coasting back there, and that hurt. Looked like, yeah, that ball just drifted and drifted. It was hit really high, so the wind pocket picked it up and wasn't able to come up with it.
See, Ryan, there, I'm guilty of just expecting that he is going to make every play. And I really do. Like probably all of us, just assume he's going to make every single one of them.
Now Marte, and he will foul it away. You and I had a chance to visit with Chris Medlin before the game today. He's friendliest guy you'll ever meet, but very thoughtful. And the conversation began. I asked him, you know, we think about him in Atlanta. He was such a good starter. You know, he had that remarkable stretch, 23 straight starts where his team did not lose. Now, he wasn't the winner every time, but still, he took the mound 23 consecutive times, and the Braves won the game. But you forget that he also spent a lot of time pitching out of the bullpen with the Braves, and I asked him about his role there. And you know, he had his first Tommy John surgery, pitching out of the bullpen, and then eventually became a starter, and just a very thoughtful person. I could see where Danny Duffy would look forward to learning from him.
And what Chris said is it's gone both ways. Chris said, I'm learning from him, he's learning from me, and I'm the new guy, and he's the one that came in and made me feel like I was a part of this team. He said, of course, this is a great team, but this is already a family, and they've already established themselves, and now he finds himself hanging out with Danny a lot away from the stadium. He said, I'm always looking for good guys, and Danny is a great guy. He said, I could not be happier for the way he has rebounded this season. He has helped me adjust. I'm trying to help him here in the big leagues.
Salvador Perez just saved a run. By the way, Joel, before you go, did you say Josh Donaldson homered for Toronto tonight?
Did I?
Stunning.
Yeah.
What a shocker.
Did I get that one right?
He's hot.
I'm surprised he doesn't hit one every day.
Right.
Wonder if they pitched him in.
Still 2-2 on Jeffrey Marte. He has walked and flied to center.
Well, you know, it just goes to show you the players that are brought in by Dayton Moore and Ned Yost. They're all character guys. You know, they're guys that were thought of about their character a little bit more than maybe their performance, but they also knew that they were going to be a good fit in the clubhouse. And that's why you bring in guys like that.
Well, remember when we were in Toronto, we were talking about Alex Anthopoulos, who does not have a playing background, the Blue Jays GM. And he even admitted it took him 5 years to realize the talent only takes you so far, that you need some character as well. And they gutted that Toronto clubhouse of certain guys, brought in gamers, good character guys, and doing pretty well. Bat and ball both chasing third base coach Dave Clark, and it's still 3-2 on Marte.
Heads up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jays give the New York Yankees a run for the Eastern Division. They've got that good offense. Their pitching comes along now with Price in there. Good spot.
Danny has walked 4. Again, similar to the start on Thursday in Toronto, he is not all over the place, and he just missed on a couple of pitches in that sequence to Marte. Herrera is ready to go in the bullpen. Duffy will get at least Anthony Gose, the only left-hand batter, and the Tigers line up tonight with runners at first and third, nobody out, and Gose is fooled badly.
Another thing about getting squeezed maybe a little bit by home plate umpire Mark Wegner is that Danny Duffy has shown zero emotion at all. No disappointment. Hey, look, you know, sometimes pitchers will turn their head or they'll wave in the air like, how come I didn't get that one? That's a good sign for Duffy. He's got good stuff tonight. He's trusting it.
Back with a breaking ball for a strike. 0-2.
And a nice play by Duffy. You rarely see an errant throw back to the mound with a runner at third base. Duffy saved a run there.
Slide step. That may have caught Gose off guard. Still 0-2. Gose grounded into a double play in the third inning, and he was a big out in the fifth. The Tigers had the bases loaded, 1 out. Gose grounded to short, and the Royals got an out at the plate. And now breaking ball hit to Moustakas. Royals get the out at second. Now they come to the plate. Double play. 5-4-2. And now the Royals may get a triple play. No. Eric Hosmer thought that Gose had made a move towards second base. First base umpire Marty Foster said no. And again, when the Tigers thought maybe they had a run that the Royals defense would give him. The Royals defense said no.
Yeah, you know, we think we've seen it all, but look at Moose hesitate. He froze the runner at third with that look. Goes across. Infante says, Ghost is a pretty fast runner. I think I'll take the easy out in Castellano, the third baseman. Now let's see if he looked like he made a move towards second, and he didn't. But just
didn't look like it.
Yeah, but a great try. So Salvi being heads up, looking for more outs. Threw that ball down to Hosmer. Gotta love it. These guys, they pay attention to every little detail when it comes to getting outs for their pitchers.
So Davis with a runner at first, 2 down. That caught the inside. Quick throw to first, and the Royals with a 4-run lead, 2 outs, and a runner at first, still putting the heat to the Tigers runners.
I mean, you don't see that play by a second baseman on a double play ball. Now that's knowing the runner. Obviously, Ghost is a quick runner, but Infante, he caught it instead of turning it over to first base. He says, Moose froze Castellano, so I'll get him at home. And it was Moose's look at him, but he looked Castellano back to third base that really made that play. Talk about chemistry. The infielders all know each other very well. Wow, Davis, he was totally messed up with that.
Not seeing that curveball tonight at all.
He's looked really off on some of his swings.
Looked like a guy trying to hit a bumblebee with an oar. Moustakas, good play at third base. So Duffy, with runners at first and third and nobody out, has another scoreless inning.
Fantastic job of defense and pitching.
Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. To the 8th inning. Royals with a 5-1 lead in game 1 of 3 with the Detroit Tigers. Blaine Hardy Out of the Royals farm system will be the Tigers' Chevy call to the bullpen as the Royals get 5 runs, 10 hits in 7 innings against Justin Verlander. We brought up Blaine Hardy's name the other day in Toronto, and it was when Wade Davis's long inning streak without allowing a home run came to an end at 125 2/3 innings. He had not allowed a home run since September of 2013, and now that longest stretch belongs to Blaine Hardy, but it's nowhere near 125 innings.
No, he's a nice lefty. They like him a lot. 86-90 with his fastball. He's not overpowering anybody, but he's been a very good situational lefty so far this season for Ausmus. Look at a big curve ball out there. He's got a slider and a changeup.
Hardy's gone 77 2/3 innings without allowing a home run.
And that curveball, he's got them waving at that curve now. He didn't go on that one.
Morales had an infield single in the 6th inning. Alex Rios got him home with a double. That's pulled just foul. Blaine Hardy, Royals 22nd round draft pick 7 years ago out of Lewis and Clark State in Idaho. And he made his big league debut against the Royals last year right here at Comerica Park. And how about this for a big league debut? Coming in with the bases loaded and nobody out against the team that drafted and developed you but never called you up to the big leagues. And Blaine Hardy got 2 strikeouts and did not allow a run. Gose makes the play on Morales. 1 down in the 8th inning. If you're on the road and want to stay up to date with the Royals, well, then subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Mike Moustakas batting 6th tonight. Into center field, Gose gets turned around, twisted around, and he made the catch. And Mike Moustakas simply picked the wrong ballpark to hit one to straightaway center field.
Yeah, too bad for Moose. Gose didn't pick it up real well, but that wind is blowing out here at Comerica today. And so by the time he to put his head down and look back up again, he had misjudged it. But when you have excellent speed, you can recover like that. Too bad for Moose. He'd like that. It's 420 in straightaway center. He hit that about 410.
And now Salvador Perez, and man, what a night he's had. And Salvi jumps on the first pitch and hooks it deep but foul to the left field side. Ryan Madsen is getting ready for the 8th inning with the Royals ahead by 4. Salvador Perez tonight has driven in 3, and he's 3 for 3, including a home run, all against Justin Verlander. When the game started, Perez was 0 for his last 10, 2 for his last 27, and he had gone 60 at bats without a home run. And now he is 3 for 4 only because of a sliding play by Davis. So very close to a 4 for 4 night. The Royals are down in order. It is a 4-run game to the bottom of the 8th inning. by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Outside Comerica Park in Detroit with a crowd of 35,039. Royals lead by 4. Ryan Madsen comes on as a Chevy call to the bullpen. Madsen has had really 2 bad outings as a Royal, which is pretty good when he's made 46 appearances, but both of those bad outings were against the Blue Jays. His ERA against Toronto is 27. His ERA against all other opponents is 1.3.
Well, certainly.
And we're done with the Blue Jays in the regular season, by the way.
No, that's good. But Madsen, he's been a wonderful surprise for the Royals this year. Good fastball up to 95. We've seen some 96s. Cutter. He's been throwing a cutter in the low 90s. There it is right there. And he's got his changeup that's an equalizer. It's a really good pitch, that changeup. Goes down and into righties. But you know, there's several major league pitchers that are veteran pitchers that obviously have more than 2 bad outings, and when you don't perform at this level, even if you have the ability, you get sent out. Look at the Tigers. Jabba Chamberlain, minor leagues. Tom Gorzolani, minor leagues. Nesbitt, gone. Well, several of their relievers weren't performing and they sent them out. Strength of the the Royals bullpen is their horses they've got out there.
Three and 2 on Iglesias. Madsen 4 years ago had 32 saves for the Phillies. In 2012, his arm blew out. He pitched 1 game in the minor leagues in 2013. Didn't pitch anywhere last year, so he did not get 1 single major league offer for good reason. So signing a minor league contract with the Royals. He has appeared in 46 games. 38 of those have been scoreless. And he makes a good pitch on Iglesias, ties him up. He grounds out to Escobar, 1 down in the 8th inning.
A lot of good stories on this Angels Royals team. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. The Royals, they got Madsen, Duffy, Medlin. There's a lot of persevering.
Chris Young, Joe Blanton, when he was here. This is a team that had a strong core of players, and yet the complementary pieces have been lifesavers. Back to Madsen on 1 hop. 2 down in the 8th inning. Weekdays, don't miss America's pregame as Mike and Molly bring you live reports from around the country for the latest from NFL training camps and get you ready for a full night of Major League action. Catch America's pregame every weekday at 4 p.m. on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
That's my buddy Mike Hill. He lets me come on with him once in a while, talk about the Royals.
Strike to Victor Martinez. He has driven in the only run for the Tigers tonight.
You know, I like to sell. I like to sell baseball. I love to sell when I was a player and I was a broadcaster. But, man, when you have a product like the Royals to sell, it makes it easy. It is so easy to talk about this ball club and fun. Talk about their emerging stars. their defense, their bullpen. It's really been a treat. The way they play the game. I mean, just looking over at the Detroit Tigers radio broadcasters after those defensive plays were made, they're over there just shaking their head going, wow, that's pretty good. You don't see a lot of defense like that.
It's like trying to sell a 1 hour full body massage. I'm concerned about that asterisk, though. Like there's some fine print, you know, Wednesdays only between, you know, 2 and 3 p.m.
You never know.
Yep.
We'll have to do some research.
Ryan Madsen out of the Royals bullpen, another scoreless outing, his 39th in 47 appearances. To the ninth, the Royals lead 5-1.
No comfortable swings.
Game 1 of 3 with the Tigers. And now the Tigers bring on Al Albuquerque, who is actually from New Mexico. No, just kidding. He's from the Dominican Republic.
Here's something. You almost had me going. That's not hard to do.
Doesn't spell it the same as the New Mexico City.
92-95 with his fastball slider. Got occasional changeups.
Well, I mentioned it earlier. The Royals' lower fourth of the batting order all had, I'll just call them little slumps coming into tonight. Mike Moustakas had been 0 for 10. He got a hit in his first at bat. Salvador Perez had been 0 for 10, 3 hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. Alex Rios was 0 for 10 when he doubled and drove in a run in the 6th inning. And Omar Infante at one point was 0 for 12 when he doubled and scored, and now Rios has a 2-hit game.
And Salvi just missed his fourth hit his last time up. He hadn't had a 4-hit game since opening day last year here in Detroit. Nice to see those guys coming out of it, driving the bus, getting some big RBIs. Salvi with a homer, his 16th tonight. He hit that in his second at bat.
Omar Infante, ball 1 from Albuquerque.
You know, the Royals may be down in the bottom of the league in home runs this year, but you know, if you look at their lineup, Zobrist has 9, so he's one more for double digits. Cain with 11, Hosmer with 11, Morales with 12, Moose with 10, Salvi with 16. They've got some nice power spread out throughout that whole lineup.
It's a very balanced offense. And what we learned in the playoffs last year, or at least what I learned, is that, you know, the Royals balance up and down the lineup with good pitching and facing teams. And Fonte has a 2-hit game. The Royals have 12 against good offensive teams that are really carried by, you know, 2 or 3 guys, maybe 4 guys that, you know, that played well for the Royals. I mean, the Royals took care of Mike Trout and Josh Hamilton and Albert Pujols in the division series. They took care of Nelson Cruz, Steve Pearce. In the championship series, Chris Davis was serving a suspension. They did not bring him back. And then they ran into a team that were very similar, the Giants. The Giants didn't really have 1 or 2 or 3 guys that really carried that club offensively. They had balance up and down their order.
That's a good point. And you know, the Royals are 7th in doubles, so they're a doubles hitting team. And sprinkled in with some occasional power. They have a formidable lineup now with the meat of the order with Morales in there. I like Moose hitting down in the 6th spot. It's all up to Ned. He has a pretty good feel for his team. I mean, a very good feel.
A soft liner out to Kinsler, who throws it away. Rios will stay put, 1 down. Escobar is hitless. The Royals only have 2 in the lineup tonight without a base hit. Escobar, who does have a sac bunt, which helps set up a run, and Lorenzo Cain. And Cain, contrasting those little mini slumps I was talking about, he was the only one with any kind of a sizable hitting streak. And unless Zobrist grounds into a double play here, Cain will get another chance. Ben Zobrist has had quite a start to his Royals career. He has a sacrifice fly tonight. So in 5 games with the Royals, he has 8 RBIs, 3 home runs. Over the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, it's nice to see how he uses the whole field. He's patient, selective. He's got a good idea. Got some pop. Seems to get big hits.
One and two.
Got to imagine there's 28 other teams out there that would like to have Zobrist.
2 down as Ghost makes a play in center field. And now Lorenzo Cain 0 for 4 so far. He has hit in 7 straight prior to tonight. Royals scored 1 in the 2nd. Salvador Perez RBI single. 2 in the 4th. Salvador Perez 2-run home run. Zobrist had a sac fly in the 5th. And Rios an RBI double in the 6th. And Cain's hitting streak will come to an end at 7 games. The Royals string 2, and it looks like Luke Hochevar is going to try and nail down game 1 with the Tigers. Coming up after the game, it's Boulevard Royals Live. Joel and Monty will be down in the field. If the Royals hang on, Joel will have a Royals guest, and we'll have reaction from the Royals clubhouse, all coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Non-save situation. Luke Hochhaber will get the bottom of the 9th inning, and Luke came on in a tough spot on Sunday, coming in the 8th inning. Got the final out, stranding a couple of runners. And now he gets a clean inning tonight with J.D. Martinez, James McCann, and Nick Castellanos coming up. Martinez fouls it off of his foot. 0 for 2 with a walk.
Oh man,
for his shin. Are you okay? Home plate umpire Mark Wegner says. And that means, can I get back into the batter's box and take another swing? Because I don't think he's okay.
No.
That hurt just watching it on the television screen.
Bounce right back to the pitcher. Can't foul it off your body any squarer.
Two and one. Haven't been many high strikes called by Mark Wegner tonight for either pitcher. But there haven't been many disputes with his strike zone tonight. Two and two.
Coach, fastball looks good. 90 to 95. He's been throwing some cutters up there, overhand curves. It looked like he threw a changeup. One that missed up.
Tigers' lone run came in the 6th inning. Victor Martinez drove in Ian Kinsler. Danny Duffy is the story for the Royals on the mound tonight, allowing 1 run in 7 innings. And at times it appeared easy for Duffy, but twice the Tigers had a great scoring opportunity against him. In the 5th inning, they had the bases loaded, 1 out. Duffy got out of it. In the 7th inning, they had runners at 1st and 3rd and nobody out. And with a heads-up defensive play by the Royals infield, Duffy got out of it. And now Martinez out over his front foot. Hits it to Rios in right field. 1 down.
Yeah, usually when you walk a couple of batters in 1 inning, that can be trouble, especially against an offense like the Tigers. But he was able to get out of that with some help from his defense, obviously. But Dave Island made a nice visit at that particular time. Helped him gather his mental game and also take a couple deep breaths. He got out of it.
So Duffy 2 outs away from evening his record at 5-5. And another very good start since coming back from the disabled list. Rios again in right field gets James McCann, and there are 2 down. Royals fans scattered throughout Comerica Park, 35,039 total. There's a fan with mixed allegiances sitting behind the Royals dugout on the first base side. Castellanos takes outside, ball 1. Castellanos has 3 of the Tigers' 5 hits. He's one of the Tigers' hot hitters coming into the series, especially in the power department. Two and 1. Shallow center. Lorenzo Cain is there. The Royals win 5-1. Minnesota has just lost in Toronto.